So Bill, we've met Bill today because he's wondering where to stay, where to retire, I guess. So Pattaya, Manila, Subic Bay. So what do you reckon? You like Pattaya or what?
Well, I think the issue we have with Pattaya is a lot of expats. And for me, it's all about, there's always a bit of a language issue here as well.
Yeah.
So we know that English is not the first spoken language, so considering maybe Cebu, maybe
Nice. Yeah.
So a few different places to check out. Probably want to see a different culture as well.
Sure.
So here I'm not into drinking, smoking, partying. It's all about the lifestyle.
Yeah.
And obviously networking as well.
Sure.
You know, networking with like-minded people.
Yeah, yeah.
Unlike, you know, getting caught up in the bar scene, it's just not a good thing.
Yeah,
but
that's
for me,
true.
it's all about health and well-being and meeting like-minded people.
Yeah.
So yeah,
For sure. And of course, property.
Property, yeah. So I've got properties in Melbourne.
Yep.
I started pretty young, in my 20s.
Yep.
Building, renovating. Obviously, around about the mid-90s, there was obviously good opportunities.
Yep.
You know, obviously my dad helped me a lot. You know, being in the industry helped me get through. You know, those times we can find some opportunities. But now land is scarce, and there's obviously a lot more apartments being built.
And it's bloody expensive.
It is expensive. I saw your latest vlog, and it actually represents, you know, $3 million in Sydney.
It's true, mate. For a duplex house, you're paying $2 million. You know, it's ridiculous. I'm originally from Sydney, so check out the seagulls. It's cool.
Is renting's affordable here? You can
Yep.
you can rent a place for about $5,000 to $6,000 a month.
Wow, I didn't know you could get a place for 5,000 to
I've done a
6,000.
lot of networking. You go Third Road. Third Road, you can get something for about 6,000 baht.
That's crazy.
It's not the ideal place. It's probably a 27 square metre condo with maybe a small balcony.
But I mean, 6,000 baht is nothing, mate.
And to make that money back, it might take you 10 years. And you want to get the growth here. You've got to get a couple of growth. I've got a few friends that actually got a place in Butale.
Yeah, Butale 6?
6, that one there. That's
Yeah, it's
central.
nice, yeah.
And yeah, it's a good investment.
Mate, I seen
Serious?
one yesterday for 8,000 in Jomtien, and I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, it is good. Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
but when you said 6,000, I was like, yeah. And that 9,000, I think it was 8,000 was the best price in Jomtien. It was new.
Sure.
It was about 38 square meters.
Wow.
And the other thing about it too is it was right near the BART bus, so you can just walk out the front of your house and boom. Yeah, it's great.
I like John Ken. It's a good lifestyle as well.
Yep, and it's up and coming, isn't it? Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, Tim is from the Gold Coast.
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't think he drinks either.
No, I've seen, you know, certain evenings obviously with his pets and all that.
Yeah, loves his dogs.
Loves his dogs, feeds his dogs,
Yep.
looks after the pets, and he's not a nice guy, another Aussie.
He is actually a really nice guy, believe it or not. Yeah, he's a good bloke. Yeah, he's from my hometown.
Sure.
When I was growing up, everyone would see him in surfers, so I'd be in surfers. Get around in a big yellow Lamborghini with the number plate Shark, and that was about one of maybe 10 of his cars. I remember he also had the Porsche Gembala, so you had the, you got Mercedes and AMG, but you had the other Porsche modifier, which was Gembala, and you don't see Gembalas much anymore, but Sharky had one of the top Gembalas. It was pretty cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah, he did well, old Shark.
Well, it's all
Old
about,
Timmy.
Being smart on the early years and sort of laying their foundation for the future.
That's right.
Working smarter, making good decisions.
Investing.
Sure.
What's that?
Investing in yourself.
Absolutely. What I was going to say is, mate, we went back to Sydney about 18 months ago, and I took Vara in there, and we stayed in this two-bedroom condominium. 2-bedroom, probably about 30 years old, on a 3-story walk-up, close to Bondi, maybe 10, 15 minutes walk to Bondi. Had a beautiful view. And I said, stuff it, I'll bite a bullet and I'll pay the mortgage. And I'm like, because the guy's like, I want to sell it. I'm trying to get out. I'm like, all right, $1 million. $1 million. So I thought that was a ridiculous price. $1 million for a little 78 square meter condominium, 3-story walk up. You know what he told me? He laughed.
Wow.
He laughed. And it was terrible. He laughed at me and he said, oh, mate, try $2 million. And I looked at him like, no way, that's crazy, like.
Yeah, look, there are so many choices now, and obviously when you look at some of the things that are published online about the growth markets in the future, they're talking about Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia, as obviously the population growth, the rise of, towards the middle class, so people get more money to spend.
Yes.
Hence why they've got, phones and smartphones and gadgets. And
Throughout Asia, Philippines, China, Thailand, mate, it's all going that way. There's a growing middle market. Yeah. I remember thinking when I grew up, like, oh, China, people are poor in China. Then I went and I moved to China, and you know what? I felt poor. Like in China, I'm poor. I'm the bottom of the barrel. I really am. I'm bloody. I've got nothing. Like in China, mate, if you don't have money and you don't buy a girl a house, it's over. They won't date you. It's full on. Yeah.
Probably not an option then. What pass on that?
I think pass. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's better in the Philippines and Thailand. It's got better weather and obviously better people too in terms of, they call it the land of smiles. They want smiling. Everybody obviously wants to chat to you. Yeah, so it's my thoughts on that.
Absolutely. No, I agree with that. Land of smiles, and for the Philippines, well, it's more fun in the Philippines. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, so you caught up with Jeff.
I caught up with Jeff yesterday on
Jeff.
Alrighty then. Yeah, he's going back to the UK in a few days. He used to be a DJ once upon a time.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I
he was
didn't
a
know
DJ
that.
for about 30 years. Had a good conversation with him.
Yep.
Just in Subic Bay in Pattaya.
Subic Bay,
Yeah, just down there. And yeah, I had a good chat to him, and we just talked about vlogging and what motivated him to vlog, about obviously his lifestyle, and he's a really good guy and a very friendly person.
So what we're going to do today is we're going to go to my condo, and I'm going to show Bill my condo at Centric Sea. Because what I've done is I actually got a resale. What I recommend is, everywhere you go, whether it's the Philippines, whether it's Thailand, wherever you go, and when you're buying, you've got to buy something that you really like, especially if it's your home. Now you've got to buy something you like, and you've got to buy something that's in a premium location. For me, what I believe is it's location, location, location. Now I've heard this argument about Pattaya, that there's just too many condominiums and there's an oversupply in the marketplace. Well, let me tell you, for certain areas like North Pattaya, I would agree with that statement. Okay, and there's a lot of new condos coming on the market from North Pattaya, South Pattaya, Pratam Nakil, and even some parts of Jomtien, right? It's growing fast and there's a lot of development. However, if you go to some places like Central Pattaya, mate, there's not many condo developments. I mean, yeah, you've got View to Lay. What have you got in Central Pattaya that you can think of besides View to Lay?
Really, nothing comes to my mind because it's all about the location. You can actually walk to Central Festival, so you don't actually need, a mode of transport. I do agree with that comment. You have to go further out, and you've got to travel more. There's oversupplied apartments. Whereas here, it's all about lifestyle, location definitely, and walking distance to the beach.
Yeah, beach. Beach is important.
Yeah, obviously. So,
yeah, well, what I like about it is you've got Central and Central Pattaya. Really, there's 3 high-rise developments that come to mind, right? And that would probably be for Central, Centric Sea, which is where I bought. The base. The base is the new Sansiri development. Centric Sea was by SC Asset. And you have the final one that we're talking about, which is View to Lay 6. Now, View to Lay is a bit older. I think it was actually built in 2008. And it's a wonderful development with big balconies. What I loved about the big balconies, you could have like a barbecue or something like that. But what I didn't like about View to Lay is it's getting a bit older. But for location, it's definitely got the best location of all. It backs onto 2nd and 1st Road, being Beach Road, and you can just walk out to your front yard, which is pretty much the beachfront. And next door, you've got Central Festivals.
from both, Thailand and Philippines.
Yeah.
Never bought here, but obviously had a soft spot for the Philippines.
Sure. And mate, that's true. I will be honest. Previously, I'd say 10 years ago when I came to Thailand, you could get a real girlfriend experience. You could get GFE. It was real, and the girl would really love you and want to actually have something with you. Now, what I've found in Thailand is most of the Thai girls, unfortunately, they're interested in one thing, and that's this. It's a bit unfortunate. Whereas in the Philippines, I found that girls are a lot more genuine. That, or they're just a lot more skillful. We'll soon find out. Funnily enough, I was talking to a gentleman yesterday who was an owner of a private club. I'm not going to mention names, but he had a Filipino, and a Filipina, sorry, I should say, and they were together, and he married her, and he took her back to Australia, and 5 weeks after being married, she left him. So I mean, like, everyone's going to have their arguments for and against. But yeah, no, I personally like the Philippines. I think Filipino are a bit nicer, and you can have something real and something genuine. Whereas I do find it very difficult in Thailand if you don't speak the language. Now, if you spoke fluent Thai and maybe worked in an office environment here and you met someone in the office environment or something like that, it could work. But like everything, mate, if you're going to meet a chicken in the bar, it's never going to work, is it? You know?
Absolutely. And for me, communications is the number one key for any relationship. If you can't engage in conversation, then it's difficult. And you've got to learn another language, which is a nice thing. It's good to learn another language. It's actually good for your mind.
Absolutely. But it's hard work. It is. And it takes time.
A lot of patience and a lot of, whether or not you go through school or through your girlfriend, partner, it takes huge effort.
Education visa, mate.
Yeah, education visa.
Yeah.
It's an option. Yeah. Thumbs up.
So what you've got is you've got crown land in Thailand here. And what that is, the royal family has issued land, okay? But they want that land back maybe in 100 years or 200 years, because maybe later they're going to redevelop it into some giant modern palace. But in the meantime, what they did is they issued some of that land to business people or close friends or something like that, or relatives. And the reason they're doing that is so they could build something there and they didn't have to pay for it. And what you get is a crown hold, leasehold property. Okay, so much like the Philippines, like Subic Bay, where you have leasehold property, you have a crown property, right? And I actually did own a property in Bangkok under a crown leasehold. Now the benefit is, okay, yes, it might not go up drastically. It might be, the same price that you sell it for down the track, maybe 5 or 10 years later. But the benefit is it's much cheaper, and you're going to get a really good location. I think for my property, it cost maybe mid 1 million baht, and at this time, this was several years ago, maybe 6-7 years ago now, and that property was like, it's beautiful, right? It was a big 2-bedroom apartment. It was not small. It was 100 plus square meters, and it had all that old Thai woodwork, right? And it was beautiful. I had an old phone with pictures and videos of it, but I lost it. And I wish I still had it, because it was a great place and it cost me nothing. And in fact, I ended up selling it for, I think, maybe 500 or 600,000 baht more about 2 or 3 years later, because I just wasn't using it. And I didn't want to rent it at a lot of my personal stuff, and I just didn't use it. But that was a really good example. Around, Siam Paragon?
Yes.
Around there and around the race course, there's a lot of crown land.
Sure.
But it saves you 8 or 9 million baht when buying.
Huge saving.
Huge saving, huge.
Awesome.
Yeah, especially if you're only going to use it for 20 or 30 years. Because a lot of those properties now, they only have maybe 15, 20 years left. But the question is, it's a gamble, because you have to work out how much you're willing to pay per month. And if you work out it's cheaper than renting, yeah, it's worth doing, because what might happen is that when that leasehold runs up 20 years or 15 years later, the kingdom can take the property back from you. They can. But what they can also do is they can say, we're going to renew it. So this is going to be very interesting to see, are a lot of these properties going to get renewed or not?
Yes, absolutely.